G'day trendsetters, how are you? And welcome back to the Veggie Garden once again. Okay, so this is the tale of two tomatoes. But firstly, I probably need to apologise to a bloke who asked me on one of my Facebook groups if you could grow tomatoes through winter, and I said no, normally not. But our winter's been fairly mild, and been mild because it's what we call a wet winter, which for people who do get wet winters would be quite amusing. But we get a half an inch of rain every couple of weeks, and it just keeps ticking things over. Way more than what we normally get in what is our normal dry season. When we have a wet winter, we usually get warmer temperatures, more humidity, and we can get stuff that we normally don't get through winter. These tomatoes being a case in point. Why these two tomatoes? Good question. This one is, they're both volunteers. They're both self-sown seedlings. Just came up. This one came up in the compost. This one came up. No, this one came up in the compost. This one came up. I got no idea how. But this one's a nice, largish cherry tomato, and this one is just a nice little round, normal, ordinary tomato, but super tasty. So why these two, and why are they self-sown? Well, okay, firstly, when you get seeds that are self-sown, they've usually got some sort of a memory of where they were grown. And because of this memory, you get a better result year in after year in after. So I want to keep these guys. I've kept seeds from this one, but I haven't kept seeds from this one yet. But again, to get back to why these two, I've overwintered them so as I can take cuttings from them when the weather warms up. And then as the weather warms up, I will plant each individual cutting, probably about a month apart. And as this one grows, I'll take the tip off of this one, make a cutting of it, and move on, and through the whole period. The other thing I want to do is, they're both probably indeterminate tomatoes, which means they're the big, climby, tall, 6 foot, 7 foot tall ones. I don't want them to grow that big because we have lots of fungal diseases here. As our weather warms up, we also get quite humid and we get an increase in fungal diseases. So to prevent that, I'm only going to grow them 4 or maybe 5 feet tall at the most, and just one single stem up a tomato stake. That's it. And that is also the reason why I will be staggering my plantings throughout the season. The reason for that is just to stop them from bushing up and getting a whole heap of leaf, let the air flow through and try and prevent fungal disease. The other thing I'm going to do is a preemptive strike, if you like, on the fungal disease, and I'll be every fortnightly spraying with copper oxychloride, which is a basic all-round fungicide. And it's just to try and stay on top of any fungal diseases and leaf diseases that we get. So, having said all that, what I want to do now, I'm still 3 or 4 weeks away from being able to plant. So I still need to keep these protected in case we get a late frost, and to do that I'm going to put them out of these pots, because these are cuttings I took earlier in the year. So I'm going to take them out of these pots, put them into this pot, put them in a nice warm protected spot until I'm ready. But today's about 18, 19 degrees, and I think it's supposed to move up to around the 23 mark by later on in the week. A little bit more rain, like I said, wet winter, and then who knows what next week will bring. But we've only got technically 2 or 3 weeks of the calendar winter left, and the chances of getting a frost now are getting very slim, but we can get them in the first week or 2 of September, so I need to keep them protected for at least another month. But again, having said that, these guys are flowering, which I think is amazing, and I've even got a couple of little fruits on the little cherry tomato here. So I'm sort of on my way already. I'll do regular updates through the season, show you what I do, show you when I spray and how I spray, and see how we go. See if this improves my chances of getting tomatoes, because I have struggled with tomatoes here. I've always tried to grow super big, full grown, full size tomatoes, but I thought about it all through last summer. I thought if I just do these, I call them bonsai tomatoes, but they're not a true bonsai, but just if I keep doing these little bonsai tomatoes one after the other, I'm hoping, along with the preemptive spraying for fungal diseases, that I can get a reasonable crop of tomatoes this year. I don't want a lot of tomatoes, I just want to be able to come out in my backyard and pick some fresh tomatoes. And this one is delicious. I'm really looking forward to getting something off of this bloke. And the parent, the one I took this cutting from, which came up as a seedling in the backyard, is still growing. So if this one fails for any reason, I'm still hopeful I can get a cutting off the back. I've also got seed that I'm going to try on this one to see if there's any variation, because I don't know if the seedling that came up was from a hybrid tomato, so I don't know if it'll transfer down the line, which is why I'm taking cuttings, but I'm interested to see what a seedling grown from seed will do as well. So yes, that's why I take cuttings, so these two come true to form in case they're a throwback from a hybrid of some sort, and the seed won't come true again, whatever. So my job for today is to pot these guys up. I'll just use normal potting mix. You can buy tomato potting mixes and all this sort of stuff. I think that's just a bit gimmicky, a way of getting a few more dollars out of your pocket. Just a good quality, all-round potting mix is more than good enough. Just don't buy the cheap stuff. If you want, I made videos of what the cheap stuff is, just does nothing. You just may as well just throw your money in the garden and plant in that. I sort of waffled and rambled on. And please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.